Hi, guys. I am so excited because today we're going to be talking about kids and money, and I've got a perfect guest. This is Becky from Busy Becky. Hi, Becky. How you doing?
Hi, how are you? Good.
Good. Do you want to tell everyone about your channel in case someone doesn't know? I don't know how, but
So, my channel is basically a little bit of everything. I am a full-time working mom. I have cleaning, grocery hauls, organization, cooking, and budgeting on my channel. I haven't done a budget video in a couple of months, but they are coming back in April. Um, yeah, just a wide variety of motivation and anything you would need over there.
Mhm. I was telling Becky before we came on how like I think it's so gutsy that she shows her real numbers because I think that's like another level of vulnerability that like I don't know if I could ever get there, giving more like general saving like money saving tips, but to actually like expose yourself and like say like this is how much we bring in and this is how much you make on YouTube. I was like, wow, like, there's only a few people that I do that, and when I saw you do that, I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah. Um,
Um,
yeah, I think it's transparency to me is really important. I think that if you don't talk about money,
mhm.
then it's different budget levels as well. It's just hard for like some people to really relate.
Yeah.
But I understand not wanting to show it too.
Yeah, no, I mean,
'Cause-
and it's fun, and it's funny because we were saying like if it was up to me, I would totally show it because like I don't have a problem with it myself, but because my husband and I work at the same place, that's when he was like, talk about everything you want, and I'm like, yeah, well, I'm gonna, but he's just don't
If
talk about salary. So when I see you do it, I'm just like, wow, like like when you guys talk, about it, it's like, okay, that's really cool. That really helps a lot of people too because it makes you more real too. Let me just see the
yeah,
comments real quick. Can you see the comments?
no, I can't.
No? Oh, that's a shame. Okay.
Let me
It's
see.
here. Here one second. Hi, Kate. How you doing? And any prepper? Oh, Wanda Hutchinson's is here. Here we go. Budget. Angel's here. Hi, Angel.
Hey, Angel.
Leticia's here. Jan from New York City Save Money. Hey, Jan. Let me see. Oh, Vita. Oh, Vita. Monica. From Vita on a budget. I was so lucky to have her last week, and we just got into groceries, which I know like is something that you always talk about on your channel too, and how to save
hmm
money on groceries. We really got into that a little bit. She's awesome. Let me see here. Oh, Kate says, Becky, I was just watching your Easter basket video. Never heard of a. I was watching your Easter basket one too today.
I never heard of those things either, but you know how it is with these kids. They come up with something different every year
Absolutely,
is something different.
absolutely.
Some little gadget.
So speaking of kids, how you have two kids, right?
I have two kids. I have a boy and a girl, 12 and 13.
Okay. And I have three. I have my daughter is 16, my son is 15, and my little one is 6. So I posted on Instagram and on YouTube about asking everyone for any kind of questions regarding kids. And also, like, if you guys had any tips to share. And we got some good questions and we got some two really funny comments, right? So, one thing that, like, I see, like, when I look up, like, anything having to do with kids and money, one topic that I always look up, and it always seems to come up again, whether you're looking at a blog or any kind of YouTube video, it's the fact that they don't teach about money in school. Like, do they teach your kids about money in school?
So I think that it's something that's new, like within the past few years, that
Mm-hmm.
they are starting to teach finances in school. And especially, I know some of them are actually doing like the Dave Ramsey program with them. I
Really,
think
I've
it's
heard
like
of that, but we don't have that over here.
fundamentals in finances or something like that. But
Okay.
I don't know if it starts really if they don't. I don't think they start getting really deep into it until high school here.
Yeah. Over here, I was really excited because of my teenagers. I have a junior and a sophomore, and they were telling me like they're taking personal finance. So I lit up. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like, what do you like talk to me? And they're learning about they went literally from balancing a checkbook and not even going into like interest rate savings accounts, like an emergency fund, like how to balance checkbook. None of that. from just talking about a regular checking account, just briefly, to talking about stocks and playing games with them about like, oh, let's say like you buy Apple stock and you buy this stock. This went up and this went down. And what do you gain? And I'm like, the more I looked at it, I was like, they talk to our kids so much, like that parents should also be involved, like they talk
Mhm.
about like, like say no to drugs, don't talk to strangers, you know, um, about driving, sex, and everything else in between. But the drugs, they go into detail about like drugs and things I never even knew. My daughter will come up to me and be like, "Did you know that now there's this drug and this drug and this is what it do to you?" And I'm like,
Mhm.
I never learned any of that. They don't talk about money, they talk about interest rates and balancing a checkbook. How to avoid
Uh-huh.
getting into debt and credit cards. My son, he just got a credit card offer in the mail last week.
It's crazy.
He's 15. My first credit card offer was in college. So I'm like, I understand how you're not discussing like the downfalls of credit, and how bad it affects your
Mhm.
life and your credit rating and everything else. But you're talking about everything else under the sun. So some
Yeah.
people tell you that, parents should be the ones that talk about money, which I agree, like I don't know how you feel about that.
I agree too. I think it should be the parents first, but it would also be really helpful if the schools would kind of back us up and talk about
Yeah.
the same fundamentals.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely. And it's fun. And it's fun. Like if the school was if the school was continuing the conversation, then it wouldn't be nagging me to
mhm.
do this and do that. Do you get that yet?
Yeah.
Like sometimes they're like, yes, like, you know?
Yes.
So if the school was to kind of like back and also educate them a little bit, I just feel like they'd be more geared for going to college and realizing like you can go without getting into student loan debt from the drop, like, and
Yep.
have the knowledge to know like don't get that credit card, like don't start charging things up that aren't necessary, it's like that.
Mhm.
The comments are popping up. Hold on a second.
Mhm.
Oh, Monica says it's kind of hard to share if you're married and sometimes your partner doesn't want to be exposed. And because we work at the office, that's exactly what's going on. Yep.
I
Let me
agree.
see.
And you have to be respectful of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
We're a team. We're a team. And so like if anything that he doesn't feel comfortable with, I'm not gonna
mhm.
Wanda says, oh, Wanda says, I keep seeing an ad for a debit card for kids. Crazy. There's when I had Rochelle Adams on the show. Are you familiar with her channel?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
So,
am.
so yeah, she's like fellow budgeters. Like we all stick together, don't know each other. She was talking about a green light. Have you heard of it?
I have.
Do you have it for your kids?
No.
No.
So we follow Dave Ramsey's baby steps,
Mm-hmm.
but of course there are things that we, don't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
And once we changed our behavior, we were fine with continuing to use credit cards.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like we charge something and it's paid off literally the same day. We never carry a balance.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have my kids on my cards as authorized users, but they
Really?
don't physically have a card. I only do that because I want them to have a good credit score right out the door, like whenever they become adults. Um,
I
because
know
to
people
me, credit
your kids are
score
young for that.
matters.
Awesome. That's awesome that you started that early. I'm sorry, I
Hmm.
didn't mean to cut you off. I was just reacting to what you said.
No, yeah. And I mean, I know a lot of people disagree with that, but that's just something that we decided that we would do. Um, it's hard to get through this life without a good credit score. And I know it's possible. I know people do it, but it's so much easier when your credit is good. So
Yeah.
if we could give them that little boost,
Then why
then,
not?
yeah.
When I had Angel on my show, we talked about like the Dave Ramsey's baby steps and how we like kind of like differ from it just slightly. I mean, I
Mhm.
think Dave Ramsey's great and he's helped us get out of so much debt because we did follow the steps for the most part. But I
Uh-huh.
do agree with you. We use credit cards now that we are credit card. We do put things on credit cards and then we pay it off. Anything that's in our budget, and we pay it off at the
Yeah.
end of the month. So I totally agree with you on that. Getting the kids to be authorized users Thank you for that suggestion. I'm totally going to do that. Absolutely.
I
That's
don't
a
think
good
it works
idea.
for every card, but just check, because I know that it does work. I just don't know if it works with every single card.
Yeah,
But
that's really great. I mean, I had heard that you can do that and that it would help their credit score, but I mean, you're starting it now. Kids are younger, so I feel like I'm behind the eight ball on that one. I'm gonna look into that. Thank you.
I don't think it takes too long to
Get
really
it
like
done.
take into effect. Yeah.
My only hesitation, and I will talk about it when we get into the questions, because some of the questions really hit home a little bit. But I mentioned before, my daughter, she feels like she's Jeff Bezos's daughter. Like she's Amazon is like her jam, and every time an Amazon box outside, she uses her own money. Like she uses her own allowance. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just like giving her a credit card. I know it's for the right reason, but there's a little part of me, I'm like, you know, if any of them is gonna mess up, it's unfortunately it's gonna be her. But that's definitely something I should look into. Let me see. Oh, here. This is actually my best friend who's watching. My child is taking financial literacy in high school. Oh wow, right now, and it's a great course. But I was shocked that she didn't know. Yep, yep, absolutely. We don't even have that, and she's literally hands down from me, and we don't have that here. It's crazy the way things are.
Yeah.
Angel says, how they offer a financial literacy class. That's awesome. Oh, they offer. No, not for me. I wish that'd be great. Nan59 says, using a checkbook should be taught in math class, but the teachers need the time to be able to teach it too. That's a good point. That's a really good point. Okay, let me see.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me see. All my notes here. So one thing is like, it's funny how like money like goes back like to like the way that you were raised. Like, have you ever thought of that? Like now, like we've all, like I follow you since the beginning, and I was telling you backstage, I'm fanning out to have you here. I'm like, so I know you've been through hard times, and I know that you're credit card debt, and that now you're, as you just said, you're credit card debt free. Like, I just feel like we learn from our parents, you know what I mean? And I don't know how you were with that. I was always like, I was never talked about money. Like no one ever talked to me about money except my mom. And all she told me about was one day she took me to Valley National Bank and she got me a pack of savings. You had to write out a withdrawal and a deposit slip. And she said to me, like, no matter what relationship you're in life, you always have an account with your name on it that's just yours that you can put money aside. And it was like, it stuck with me. But my parents never had credit cards. So, and money was like, it was a scarcity mindset is how I was always raised. And no one had to say it. It was just, you know, kids perceive a lot, take in a lot. And for me, it was always a point of stress. So until I am where I am now, where I'm finally credit card debt free and we have our emergency fund, and now we're finally getting towards our retirement and the kids 29s, getting from where I was to where I am now, like it really a lot of like reprogramming in my brain. You know what I mean? Like
I definitely know what you mean.
Being in debt just really teaches you life lessons. You know, like I don't know how you feel about that.
So growing up for me, like my parents we weren't poor, but we did not have a lot of money. My parents worked all the time. They both worked full time. I do remember we were never talked about money. We were never taught like any money lessons or anything, but I do remember every Christmas we had huge Christmases and they would actually go to the bank and get a loan to pay for Christmas. For all of us, for their 4 kids. And they would spend all year paying that back. And then that was pretty much it. Like, that's all I really remember of my childhood as far as like finances. We did all start working at the age of 14, about 30 hours a week. So we were going to high school and working as much as we could. And from that point on, like when I got my first job, if I needed shampoo or toothpaste or a shirt, whatever I needed, I had to pay for. And at the time, like I was really mad at my mom for it because I didn't like that, but it really, really did help teach me a lot. Not enough to keep me from getting into like bad circumstances with money, but
I know. Yeah, I know. I feel the same way. My dad would hold the fact that he's the breadwinner, even though my mom worked at night after putting us to bed. So like he kind of like hold it over to a certain point. Like at least that's how I felt. So when I was 14, I got my first job and I paid for my own. I'll never forget. I paid for my own class ring, my junior class ring. I paid for my junior and senior prom dresses, and I paid for the limo that literally took us like a few blocks, but everybody needed to go for their junior senior prom. And I felt liberated to a certain point because I was like, he can't over me. This is my money, and I saved it, and this is what I did. So you would think like that would have stuck with me, but then as soon as I got my first credit card offer, and got it and whether with my ex-husband, who talk about, because one of the questions really touched my heart when and I'll get to that in a little bit, but I know what it's like to make every single mistake possible and all be around money without even, and in retrospect, when you look back, you're like, everything was about money, like everything was surrounding around money, so
yeah.
So that's why like we want to teach our kids better. That's like the whole point of
Yep.
together, is to teach our kids better. And like, how do you feel like you're doing, like as far as like where you were and the mistakes you've made to teaching your kids like about money and feeling proud of what you're teaching them so far?
I feel really good about where we are right now and
Mhm.
everything that we've taught them. I think a lot of what they've learned, honestly, has just been by example. Them watching us go through the hard times and us having super open conversation with them.
Mhm.
And, a lot of people want to hide money struggles from their kids and not let it, not really like upset them with it. And I understand that, but
Mhm.
we've always been really open with our kids, all of our struggles and as far as money and relationship. I did the video on us getting a divorce and
Yeah.
the financial struggles that we had. And, they lived that with us.
I was
They
in tears at
watched it.
the end of that video. I just have to tell you that, like, I was in tears at the end of that video. It was just, you were so vulnerable with your whole story, and that's when I reached out to you, and I was like, look, I would love to just have a conversation with you. So thank you so much again for being on. Like, I don't even know if I've
Thank you
even
for
thanked you
having
yet.
me.
Thank you, but I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I just wanted to tell you, like, it was hard to watch. Like, it was hard to watch. It really was.
Yeah, it was hard to film.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But
It was. Yeah,
but
I mean,
you know what? If it weren't for all of that we went through, I don't know if we would be where we are today financially.
yeah,
We had to hit rock bottom
mhm,
to start completely over and get, build us to where we are now.
yeah, yeah.
And the kids watched that. They witnessed every bit of it. And there's no better learning tool than watching it happen, living through it
Mhm,
for them.
mhm.
So,
Yeah, you've been through so much. She went through a house fire. If you guys aren't familiar with her story, like, I mean, she lost everything, and then after that, they filed divorce. It's just, it
and
was,
I don't think that I mentioned it in that video, but our
mhm,
house fire,
mhm.
so we had the house fire, and 5 days later, we were getting a divorce. So it all happened like in a week's time,
Mhm.
Um, it was a rough time for sure,
Yeah, I'm so
but
sorry that you went through that. I really am. I'm so sorry that you went
it
through
was
that.
a blessing at the same time,
Mhm.
and it feels weird saying that because it was so horrible, but it was truly a blessing in disguise.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. No, I have a link to Becky down below. You guys, please go. If you guys aren't subscribed to her, please go check her out. And if you're liking this video, please hit the like button. I just always forget to say that. I always say it at the end that I link your channel. Everybody should go and subscribe. Your channel's wonderful. And
Thank
that
you.
video was so, I feel like I'm gonna get emotional. Like, that video was so vulnerable. It was just, it really, as a mom and as someone that's been divorced myself, I was like, wow, that was magnificent. Honestly, there's no other word I can think of. That was
Thank
wonderful.
you.
You shared that. And I'm sure that you
Thank you.
help other people that are in the same situation. I really think you did. There's no you couldn't.
I hope so.
Absolutely. So let's lighten things up. So we have some comments and some questions. They really made me laugh as I was putting. So first of all, let's talk about allowances and chores, right? Now, again, we have kids of different ages. But how do you deal with chores? Like how do you feel about that?
So we just recently changed our chore system.
Hmm.
And I think sometimes, as the kids grow, your system, you outgrow it. And so sometimes you have to change things up. So we did just recently change our chore system. Previously, we had a job board. We called it a for hire board because we were teaching that to get money, you have to work. Like money's just not handed to you.
Yeah.
Money comes from working. And basically, we had jobs hanging on that board with money attached to them.
Wow.
And the kids were expected to do certain chores without money, without getting paid for it, just as a part of living, in the
Hmm.
household and being a functioning member of the household.
Hmm.
But if they wanted to earn extra money, they had the opportunity to do so with these extra jobs. And they were, things such as like washing the car or cleaning all the fans or, stuff like that. And
Hmm.
each job had money hanging with it. So they could do that job and get the money right away.
Okay.
And that worked really good for several years.
Hmm.
Um, and then they just kind of lost interest. So we did just change to a new chore system where basically they are getting their commission. We call it commission because I don't know, because they're working for the money.
Yeah.
Um, and basically, here I have them here. It's going to be backwards for y'all probably, but these
Oh,
just
okay.
hang on the side of the fridge.
Hmm.
And so it's got the money attached to it.
Hmm.
And I do this every week. I write down their new chores and they have to do that. And then at the end of the week, they get their money. But my husband and I do live off of 50% of our income. So they're expected to do the same. So for 2 weeks of the month, they get cash. And then for 2 weeks of the month, I transfer their allowance to their savings account.
Nice. Nice.
So that's how we handle it.
That's nice. I agree 1,000% about the chore. The exact same thing. Like you're a member of this family, you're gonna work. Like we do chores once a week. Like it's like the dishwasher. The teenagers they alternate and they help me with it. Because by the time I finish working, school's over earlier, then I can just start cooking with a clean kitchen. So that's
Yes.
something they do because they're a part of the family. But on Sundays, like we break up the chores by all of us, and we all take care of it. 6-year-old, you should see her out there like taking out the garbage and swinging it into the can. Like, I want them, like you said, to know like the value of money and that you work hard for money. Nothing's going to be handed to you. So
Mhm.
definitely do that. Um, we started off with the Susie Orman just because the kids were little, to love to watch the Susie Orman show, and she used to talk about like $1 for their age, which
Yes.
funny because Jesse and Brian are literally a year apart, so 16 and 15. So I'm like that would add up pretty quickly, but obviously to them it's not a lot. They wish that they had more. Little one though, I mean, I'm not $6 a week. Like she doesn't. I want her to work for what she gets, which is actually one of the questions. So for her, we're giving her $1 a week. She came to us and said, if I get more chores, can I get $2 a week? I was like, she's 6 and she's asking for a raise. I was like, yes, yes, yes.
But that's
Like,
teaching life lessons right there.
oh, you're serious to them, but inside you're like, proud mom moment. Like,
Hmm.
so she's starting to get it now. She's starting to get it now. So that's how we do it. And uh, my older two, it's funny. I would, just forget. Like we're so busy every day. I forget sometimes to give them their allowance. So they were like bill collectors, like coming to the door. And they're like, so I'm like, oh my gosh, how much do I owe you? How many weeks? Like it would just because time just flies sometimes. So what I did in the beginning of the year, I said, we're gonna do this right. You knocking on the door. So I set up an automatic transfer. And so from
Hmm.
the checking account to they have their own savings accounts linked to ours. And so for
Yeah.
every Sunday, they do the every Sunday, the money goes right in. And if they work harder or they do something extra, like if our little sister needs help with something and they volunteer and they do it, and we see that,
Hmm.
like instead of just acknowledging what they're doing, like we also give them a little bump. Like, if they're helping
Hmm.
out and I can get something else done in the house because they're helping me out with this without me asking, like, okay, we got
Yeah.
20 inches of snow this year. And
I know.
normally, yeah, it was crazy. Not at the same time, but it was pretty much within the same. and little Emily had a shovel, and the three of them are out there shoveling along with my husband. And my husband was like, look, they busted their butt. I'm like, all right, then they get money. Like that's that. And they were so excited. Especially Emily. She was like, I get more money. Like, and I want them to know, like, it's worth it. Like, you know, I want you to know the work ethic behind it, you know? So the question is from Angel from My Real Life Budget. And of course she's watching. If you guys aren't familiar with her channel, link it down below. You guys got to check her out. So she said, how do you teach your small children about money? Anything you've done or recommend? Do you have anything else?
I think, I don't remember, like when my kids were really small, I started off super easy, like I think from age 3 to 5, just introducing them to like money and coins, and teaching them that, you know, you earn money. And then when they move on to ages like 6 to 10, then you start teaching like price comparisons and things like that when you're in the store, and just slowly introduce them to money. The thing is that it's hard to teach them to handle money if they're not handling money too. So they have to have opportunities to earn the money to learn how to handle it.
Yeah. So Emma has a little piggy bank in her, and you know, before she even knew like what money was, like we were giving her an allowance. Like when she started doing chores, we started giving her $1, and then just recently went up to $2. And so I'd make a big deal, like, here's your allowance, like put it in your piggy bank, put it in your piggy bank. And then in January, she got so excited, comes up to me and she's like, Mom, I actually want something. And she doesn't ask for anything. She knows the answer is her birthday or Christmas. And she's like, I want something. And so she pulls me to the TV, and there's this thing called a napper. Have you ever heard of it? So it's a pillow. It's like a unicorn pillow, and the thing pops up and it becomes a sleeping bag, and the pillow becomes like the headpiece.
Okay.
So I think it's $40, right? So I was like, honey, that's expensive, $40. So we went to the piggy bank and we dumped it out and we counted it, and she only had $10 at that point. And so I said to her, I said, I'm going to show you. Like, she's like, how do I get to 40? And I said, I'm going to show you. So I came up with this. I did it on my own. Oh, sorry. I did it on my own. So it's $1. It's everything's a line until you get to the top. So it was funny because she lost tooth that week, and that helped her out. The tooth fairy gave her $5. So between her extra money for shoveling and her allowance, and then her tooth fairy money, within, I'm going to say like a little bit, 8 weeks at the most, she had it. And she was just ecstatic about it. And she takes such a good care of it. She even puts it back in the box because she wanted to get ready. Awesome. And that's another thing too. It teaches them to be able to appreciate what they have instead of just like something that they got, you know?
Yep.
So then recently she said to me, she has Ariel doll that the tail changes color. So I did the same thing. And this time she lost 1 week. I'm like, I'm charging the tooth fairy rent. So I did pretty much the same thing. It's Ariel, so same exact thing. And this thing was $20. So in a month, she just got the doll last week.
Oh, I love that though. Like the visual is really important too for them.
Because she wouldn't know. Like she'd have no idea what's in there. And we hang it up in the refrigerator, and every time that she puts it in, and she's so excited to color another line, you know, so that way it gives them exactly like you said, like a visual. So we went to Carvel this weekend, and I had the whole family, and we're going through the, and the lady says, okay, that'll be $20.07. And Emily in the back goes, oh, like $20. I'm like, now you're getting it. Yes,
because they know what to earn that. Yeah.
So Angel, that would definitely be something that I would recommend as far as that, like giving them something that can physically put the money away, like Beth, like Becky said, like as far as like touching it, but then also like giving them a visual so that they can be excited to get money and be able to accumulate it. So Andy, my 7-year-old is starting to ask me to buy her things, and I want to start her on an allowance. I don't want to make it too much to where she's spending what she gets. She does do chores, and helpful, and I want to teach her the value of savings. Any suggestions?
So I think like the job board that I mentioned, like we had, might be a good idea, or something like that. Obviously, you know, have it be a visual. not just a verbal, you need to do this and you'll get paid this. I think they need something to look at.
Yeah.
And then I like the idea of like $1 per week for her age. So like $7 a week. We do a little bit more, but that's because we do have them save all earned money. You have to save 50%.
Yes.
Just because that's the way that we live. Now, birthday money or Christmas money is 100% theirs. They can do whatever they want with it. And then also, like, to teach them to be a saver, I think some of that just is going to come with like life experiences. Like my daughter, she lost her iPods, her AirPods, and those are like $135. I'm not going to replace those. She lost them, and so if she didn't have her savings, she wouldn't have been able to replace those. And those are like her life. I mean, they're attached to her at all times. I don't know how she lost them in the first place, but that was a teaching moment for her. Like, I'm so glad that I have my savings. I can just go replace them and it not even be a big deal,
Yep. No,
So.
absolutely. My only thing is, I don't want to make I don't want to like my older two, they understand the value of money and they understand how expensive things are and things like that. But since she's little, like I didn't want to make her allowance enough to where when she wants something, oh, I just got my allowance, here you go, I'm gonna buy this. Like I wanted to instill savings, and that's why I made it lower. And then like the way she takes care of that Ariel doll, it's like you would think it's made out of gold. Like it's just like up high, and she brushes the hair, and like she dried it up. She came out completely soaked from her robe, and meanwhile the Ariel doll is completely dry. It's just like, like So for like right now, like I know I want to bump her up because I don't want her staying at like a low amount. I wanted to instill with her, just since your kids are older, like I wanted to instill with her like the amount, like save for it, because she's not on anything really expensive yet. $40 to her was like, okay. So I want small enough to like, I'm instilling to her, like, I have to put it away. Like I have to put it away, instead of like the ice cream truck coming in, her being, oh, I've got $2. Like I'm going to go and buy ice cream instead. So that's definitely something.
So my kids they have like a piggy bank in their room, and then they have a bank account, like a savings account that is attached to our account that they deposit money into, and then we can transfer money into. The money that's in their bank account, they're not allowed to touch. Like never. You can't go in there and pull out of it or anything. The money that if they have to replace something like her AirPods, that came out of like her piggy bank money in her room.
Wow. Okay.
So 50% of what they're earning that's being saved that goes into the bank account, like that doesn't get touched ever.
Nice.
That's for like way in, far in the future if they need a car or,
And that's great because that teaches them what comes in gets split, and so you're not getting 100%. Think of it always as 50%, and 50 gets put away. That's really smart. That's really smart, honestly. Okay. So, this is the one. Okay. Amy, have you ever read a comment or a question on your channel and you kind of get taken back a little bit? Like, has that happened to you? When I read this one, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been there. Okay. So it said, this topic couldn't come at a better time. I'm divorced from his father. He shows that money should be spent and not saved. Like, how can I establish good money habits when they don't make, so they don't make the same mistakes that we did? Our kids are 6 and 8. What do you think?
I feel like he's showing the kids that money is to be spent, but I think that, they're watching you. They're watching both of you. And at some point, there's going to be a time when that comes back to bite him. If he's spending all his money, they're going to see at some point that something comes up and he doesn't have money, or they want to go out to eat and he doesn't have money because this other thing came up, and then they learn by example. And so I know it's hard to like be patient, but I promise that time is going to come. If you're a bad money manager, there is going to come a time where it's going to catch up to you. And it may not be fun for them to see or a fun, lesson, but it's needed.
Yeah.
It's something that's necessary. And then there's, at the same time, there's going to come a time when, she has an emergency and she'll be able to say, I am so glad that we had this money in the bank because this saved me, like this saved us.
Yeah.
We can pay for this emergency. And yeah, sure, we can go grab McDonald's afterwards or, after we get the car repaired, and it not even faze her. And they're going to see that, both ways.
Absolutely. When I went through my divorce, my older was 5 and 6. It was the exact same way that she's talking about. He would, it's whatever he decided to do is what he decided to do with his money. I had no say. I don't want to have say. I wish him the best with that. But what was frustrating for me was that's half the example that they see, and with that comes like the fun dad kind of scenario. I mean, like, oh, we're doing this and we're doing this, we're doing that, and I'm doing the opposite. Like, I'm saving, like I'm I'm trying to get out of debt, and I'm saving, and I'm talking to them about money and everything else. But just like it's what I wrote down is just try to be the best example that can be, because I didn't do it on purpose. I did it out of necessity, like from 2 incomes to one income. I had a really hard time being able to survive, and we had me and the kids, and I never let them feel it that I felt it when I grew up, but it was definitely hard. It was financially the worst I've been in my whole life, and I had to claw my way out of it, and I had to save every cent I could to get out of it. I mean, we were getting utilities, like people coming to saying that they were going to shut off the utilities. I was left in a house I couldn't afford. And because of that, the house ended up being a money pit for the little bit of money that I had. It was a never ending cycle until I finally got out of that house. And it was so hard, but I didn't want that. I didn't want them to see that. So instead, what they saw was someone that worked as hard as she possibly could. And I'm not patting myself on. It's just what they say now. That it's funny now that they're not 5 and 6 anymore. They're 15 and 16. They still talk about it. Like, you didn't have to say it. Like, we knew it. We saw it,
Yeah.
Now to be able to be debt free, have an 8-month emergency fund, talk to them now about putting them down and showing them, like, this is how much we have in your 529 accounts. And because of everything I'm not where I want to be, showing them a higher amount in those accounts, but showing them, like, this is what we're able to do so far. And she still has a year left and he has 2 years left.
Yeah.
But, and they felt it. And so, like, no matter what the other party is doing, you can't control that. So all you do is focus on you, and that will be enough. And they'll see it because they love you, and see it, and they'll learn. Now I have a saver. My son saves everything, and my daughter is trying.
I know. My kids are like, have one of each too. Really? I have one that, like, even the weeks that they get their cash allowance, which is theirs, they still want to put it in their savings account and not touch it. So, but I think it's really important with teaching kids about money is also, like, not just talking to them about money, but like talking to them about opportunity.
Yes.
The opportunities that you have when you have money, or when you have savings, or when you're prepared and when you make the right choices, versus when you don't have, the savings or a backup plan because you were, too busy, spending it or having fun or whatever, not really planning, then you have no opportunities to do the things that you want to.
Yeah. And now having a vacation fund, I've mentioned this before, is such an encouragement for me because, like, I put away a certain amount, like, out of each paycheck. And even though, like, like, and it's clean now, but, like, a little bit in there, like, it's encouraging too when you're trying your best to get out of debt and do everything you can for your family. Like, having that little bit of fun money to be able to pay, I think is really important. Talk about that too. And we talk about that too. Emily, the other day, she found a quarter under the couch. She's like, Mom, put this in the Disney jar. Like, it's like, like, I want them to know, like, it's about saving in future, like there, you can also be able to afford to have some fun too. I want to just go to the comment quick because they are going crazy here. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Okay. Angel, that was a really powerful testimony, Becky. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
It is, yeah. Talking about your story. So Monica says, it's so hard. You're such a strong woman. And a lot of times we are stronger than we think. Thank you. Absolutely. That's really great the way she said that. Let me see. Is it normal if kids have an interest in gaming regularly? For example, if your kids do chores but don't really care about getting money from it. I had there was a point when I had to switch things up with my older two, and they really weren't, because we weren't doing anything because beginning of the quarantine, like we weren't doing anything, and so they were like, yeah, all right. So instead, I encouraged them to continue to put away and to continue to do for their family, and it got a little like we hit like a little bit of a slump in that area where they weren't as excited about getting allowance. So the privileges. Like if they did more, not only would they get an allowance, but like I let them stay up an extra hour. Like my son, like an extra half hour or an hour on his Xbox, which that's gold. Have you ever done that? Have you ever given your kids like an extra bonus of this money?
Yes. Usually it's like extra video game time, or, because we have like the timer set on their video game, or my son's video games, to where after so long it'll automatically shut off and he can't play anymore. So he can earn more time.
Oh, wow.
Versus more money,
I want that because I'm always the bad enforcer. Like, okay, come on, Brian, like you got to get off your game. That'd be awesome. It just shuts down.
We used to do that, and then it got to a point where we had to set that internal timer. But yeah, I feel like I have one of each. Like my daughter is all about earning money and, saving money. And we were going to hand down my car to her, and she's like, I don't want your car. So she wants to save for her own car. I'm like, I promise you, when you're 16, you'll probably take my car gladly. But
oh my gosh, my kids would be like, she turned down your car.
I know.
Okay, let's see here. Oh, Angel said it was the coloring sheet that I made. It took me a while. I became a little bit of a Canva freak on that, but I made it. Let's see. Monica, that is such a great idea. I love it. I think I will do drawings and pictures like that for my kids to earn money. We hung it up, and she was so excited. She really was excited. I'm glad you like that idea, Monica. Oh, my comments just, I'm sorry. Hold on 1 second. Let's see. Oh, Tiff is on here. I haven't seen her in forever. Hi, Tiff. She says, so happy I was able to catch your live. Oh, and hello to you too. She's really sweet. She got off of YouTube for a little bit, and then I thought I had lost her. Then she popped back up. Oh, this is a good channel. Managing the mother load. Hi. She's.
Oh yeah, hey girl.
Oh, is she from your channel?
Yeah.
Oh really? That's a great title. That's a great name for her channel. She said, I'm so inspired so much by Becky. I love that you're building your kids' credit so that they can hit the ground running. Absolutely. Absolutely. Great comment. Absolutely. I'm really going to look into that when probably this weekend. Opportunity. Here's Monica. Great way to extend them. Yep. Absolutely. Let's see. Okay. All right. So Ron, did you see Ron's comment? I was like, they should put this on a plaque. So he says, I tell my kids all the time, they don't get paid because they're cute. They get their allowance for helping out around the house. For them good work ethic while they're still young and listening. LOL. I'm like, can we put that on a plaque somewhere? Like, how awesome is that? Like, you're not getting cute. Let me see. Monica, I have prize tickets and actual tickets for ticket warnings if they're not behaving. I do for kids. This are not material things or money related. That's good. Anything that works. Let's see. Oh, Debbie, your channel helpful, especially this topic. Thank you so much. That's so sweet. Okay. So this is another funny comment. I said we had some funny comments. So Jess says, you give your kids more money. Yeah, Jess is my daughter. She's a teenager that loves Amazon. I was like, when I saw that she went on my Instagram and put that, I was like, you tried it. Like, I was like, maybe you should do more. No, she does great. She does well. I was like, little smart aleck. Okay, so now we're getting into the older here. So my glasses, because I feel like I'm reading like I'm 5 years old here. So Eileen says, my kids just started working on the weekend now. They are 16 years old. I want twins. Oh my goodness. I want to encourage them to save. I'm nervous that they will be tempted to spend all that they make. I'm hoping they both go to college, but I can afford to pay for them. So they're going to have to chip in as much as possible. Any suggestions? What do you think?
So I think, I mean, a lot of people aren't able to afford college, especially for multiple kids. But maybe if you're able to afford to encourage them to save, if you're able to afford to maybe match their savings, that would encourage them to save more. And it would still be cheaper than you paying for college. But I also think that it's okay if not every kid goes to college. You know, it doesn't mean that they're going to be any less successful than somebody who goes to college. I don't think that a college degree is necessary to be successful in life. There are so many trades out there that pay amazing, and I mean, people become millionaires from these trades not having any kind of college degree. You know, you can be successful with money and in life without having that piece of paper. That's just my opinion.
I'm like, preach. I'm like, absolutely. Like, as you're saying it, I'm trying to trying to hold back my reaction. Absolutely. Like, I agree with you 1,000%. Like, so when it comes to what she's saying, I think, again, we lead by example, right? So they're starting to work, and so she wants them to be able to put away for college. I know exactly how she feels, because my 15 and 16-year-olds, again, I don't want to even think about that, but they're like a year and 2 years away from starting college. Like I explained before, where we are now, I wish I could have not made the mistake in the past, so I would have more in their 529s, been able to pay off debt earlier, you know, but you can't go back and do anything. All you can do is learn from your mistakes. So for us, it's them to get a job, and they're both looking to get a job. They do it every summer. I try not to get them to work as much during the school year, because I want their main focus to be about grades. You know, obviously with everything going on, I can't socialize, but I want them to really do the best they can with grades. When it comes to college, if they really want it, like, I really feel like, just like we were talking about before, they take ownership, you know, they show that their grades show someone that wants to go to college, if that's what they want, you know, because if by pulling their weight and doing that, then they're going to qualify more for scholarship, grants, financial aid. And then whatever you have that you can help them with, plus if they're working, maybe establish like a certain percentage that you expect them, since they live under your roof, to put away, since they're going to college so soon. Like your kids are younger, so they have more time, and you've already established the money values that they need in order to be able to have more opportunity, like you said. But for them to have two, I can't imagine at the same time, 16 years.
I think even though they're 16, even if, you know, if they're working and bringing in money, you could say, you know, I need you to contribute this much per month, and the mom save it and just put it aside for them, you know.
That's a good idea.
I mean, they can think they're paying rent or helping with groceries or whatever it is, but really she's just setting it aside to give them when they need it.
Really smart.
But I have one of each kid. You know, I have one that we have an early college next to us, and it's like attached to the high school. And since my kids were little, we have been, every time we drive by there, we talk about the opportunities that they would have if they did really good in school and devoted themselves and, you know, got into this early college, the opportunities that they would have. And one of them listened, and I don't think one of them did. So my daughter she's 13, she's in 8th grade, and she applied for the early college and she got accepted. So in
Wow.
August, she'll start taking college courses at the early college, and
Mm-hmm.
she'll graduate high school with her associates. So it's really like giving her a huge leap, a huge like step forward.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not having to pay for that. The school district pays for her to get her
Wow.
associates. But then I have my son who has no desire, like just getting him to do his normal schoolwork and care about it is a chore in itself. Like I don't see him being, you know, super pumped up about going to college,
Mm-hmm.
which is how I was out of high school. My parents could have saved all the money for college they wanted, but I had no desire straight out of high school. Like I tried and I didn't do good because I didn't want to be there.
Mm-hmm. You sound like my
Um,
husband. My husband says the same thing of him, and that's why to college. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
mhm.
Yeah, he said that
And
even in high school he knew like it's not something that he wanted to do.
yeah, I wanted to, but I didn't want to work for it, like
Mm-hmm.
I wanted my degree, but I didn't want to do what it took to get it.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually went back to college in my early 30s, and we were paying cash for me to go, but I was going for my teaching degree, and we were paying 100% out of pocket. But at the time, I was already making more than teachers with their master's degree in our area. So
Wow.
it made no sense, which
Mm-hmm.
just goes to show you don't have to have a degree to make a good living,
Yes.
you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you see
So,
many people um, have student loan debt and not have a degree. Like the amount that they spent on student loan, like that they've accumulated on student loan debt, equate to the job that they have and the salary that they're making. And it's really
yeah,
sad. It's really sad.
yeah,
Like my best friend, the one just commenting before, Kristen, she's an attorney. So obviously the debt that she accumulated when she did, it equaled an amazing job where she has the potential to, go as far as she can go, and she's a rock star, But you see so many people have all the student loan debt and they don't have a degree or a job equivalent that's going to pay off even in like
yeah,
5-10 years, and it's so sad. And that goes
I know.
to, I really wish about this in school, so it's not just the parents saying this to where like we're drilling it in their head.
Yeah.
My son is the saver, my daughter is the spender, my older two, but my daughter has straight A's. My son, he tries, but now like he was doing better when he was in school, but we're still all virtual here. Like it's really hard for him to focus because it's just a computer screen and he's not as motivated. So we kind of have to continue to be on him a little bit, like, come on, you're so smart, like you can do this, you can do this. Because even if he decides he doesn't want to go to college, which is fine, yes, we just, like you said, we want him to be happy. And he's really great at mechanics. That's like something he's taking now. The auto mechanics here, they make more than some people that have these degrees. So they are looking for trade work, and they are looking. You can have potential of earning so much more. You don't need a college degree, like you said.
Yeah.
He says he wants college, so we're like, well, if you really do, then you have to bump up these grades. And we're on him a little bit about that. But her, of course, my spender is a straight A student, so I'm like, no.
Yeah.
But I also feel like we have to have an open conversation with the kids and let them know, like, with that they're at this age, like let them know exactly where we are. Like this much will be able to help you, but your weight, and you need to get the best grades that you can possibly get if this is what you want to do. And we've shown them 29 accounts, and I'm like, unfortunately, I wish we had more right now. Hopefully they'll do well, and then we'll continue to contribute. But this is what we have. Do
Yeah.
you have college accounts for the kids set up?
We do. We started both of the kids' college accounts, the 529s, when they were born. And we don't put very much in there. We've actually never raised the amount that we put in there. We put $100 a month in there.
Mhm.
And I figured that by the time they go to college, well, my daughter, she's starting the early college, so her associates will be paid for. And then we
That's
have
amazing.
yeah, it definitely helps us out. They also do both have Army benefits, military benefits for my husband that they'll be able to use. And then at this point in our financial journey, we have enough extra income that will be able to kind of supplement and pay for their extra classes if they need it.
Mhm.
So yeah.
And another thing about the twins that are 16 is like my daughter, she's taking these virtual college tours, and they really like drill them in, like, like you can, if you have the grades, so you can get so much of your tuition and things like that. So like what I'd suggest is like, and for my daughter, because since she doesn't have any expenses when she's looking for a job right now, and she just came up to me last night and she said to me like, how should I be putting away? I'm like, since you're a year away from school, like I would think 80% put it away and keep 20% for you, because it's not really much socializing now. Amazon again is her best friend, but by her seeing that, we want her just for the next year, if she can put away 80%, which I know is a high number. It was just something I threw out at her. And then afterwards I thought that sounds about right, because that'll encourage her to do extra work, so that the 20% that she is taking for fun money will be more than what it was.
Mhm.
Like, like maybe she had like 2 online jobs on the weekends and things like that to kind of
Yeah.
supplement and get rolling in her head how they should have been years ago. But what can I
Yeah.
do? And do you
Yeah.
encourage your kids, like when they're old enough to get a job?
I was repeat that.
Do you encourage your kids when they're old enough to get a job? Like, is that something that they're looking forward to?
So I have always encouraged them, but now that my daughter is going to be starting the early college courses next year,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm not really pushing it because I just don't know if she'll be able to handle all of that, and I want school to come first.
Yeah.
So
That's a worry of mine. That's a worry of mine. She's very goal oriented, but I'm just like, I don't want, she's straight A's, and I don't want it to be where you get focused on summer jobs and maybe like an hour here and there and then have it be like where it affects her grades. So like that was something I had to tell her from the beginning. Like, no matter what you want to do, like your grades have to come first.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We'll see. I don't think it's something that she'll be doing. She does do like pet sitting on the side for neighbors, and
Nice.
my sister does own a business a couple cities over, and so she'll go and help her, a little bit and get paid a little bit. But I don't know if her holding an actual job will be something that she does.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I know with the early college, she's going to have to be taking courses during the summer
Yeah.
and everything, and going back and forth between the high school and the college. And I don't want her to be overwhelmed with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
And when you mentioned about kids not wanting to go to college and they don't have to if they don't want to, that was the reasons why we got 529 plans for the kids, because if the child decides not to go to college, like they can roll it into the other one.
Yep.
And another thing I really liked about it, and I know it sounds like a little bit like controlling, but it's just because I picture how I would be if I didn't have ground like the financial knowledge that I have now. But 529 plans, the parents keep control of the accounts. But if you have
Mhm.
a UTMA account, they control once they're 18. So if you have a good amount enough savings and you're giving thousands and thousands of dollars designated college to your 18-year-old, like I'm like,
That could be a recipe for disaster.
that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking exactly. So I'm gonna see if anyone has any questions. We have such great subscribers and people watching. Let me see. Oh, Angel. Community college is a great way to save on college costs. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. My hesitation with community college is that you have to be smart about it. When I went from community college, because I did go to college, I just never graduated. So when I went from community college to a regular college, they said they were taking all courses, and then so I had to then invest more money into the college I transferred into, because they decided, just because they felt like it, they're going to take the credits for the
Yeah.
courses that they said that they would. So ended up costing
Yeah.
me a little bit. Honestly, the teachers in the community college were a lot more not only nice, but they extended them more than the people than the teachers at the college. I was like, really? Like, I'm paying more, and they're not more, like, some of them. They weren't staying after class answering questions or meeting with students beforehand.
Yeah.
I was like, I was a little disappointed by that. I tell my kids all the time, I'm like, choices, but community college, I had a great experience. Let me see. Do your kids have a general idea of what college they like to go to? I'm not asking which college, I'm asking, just curious, since I'll be going to college somewhat soon and not sure where yet. I think that's what, like, if you don't know what you want to do yet, I think community college is a great way to learn and still like not like blow the bank, right?
Mhm.
What do you think?
I agree. My daughter is set on not going to community college. She wants to
Mhm.
have the full, experience of, the big 4-year college and dorm living and all of that.
Mhm.
Um, which is fine,
Oh
if it's something that we can easily pay for. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not okay with like her taking out student loans, or we're not going to take out any loans or anything like that. With the military, for us, there's only certain schools that she can go to in our
Mhm.
state, where
Mhm.
she'll get those benefits. So she is limited in that respect, but we'll see how that works out.
I feel you when it comes to taking out loans for them. Like I've done the thing. We this part we did exactly like Dave Ramsey is about, like, the steps 4, 5, and 6. So contributing to your kids' college education, contributing to retirement, and paying and trying to pay off the mortgage. So we're
Hmm.
doing that as well. I just We work so hard to get where we are, and I just there's a part of me that like I didn't have, maybe again going back to like a lot for me goes back to how I felt when I don't know why, like it's like a full circle moment when I think of things like this. Like when I wanted to go to college, my parents didn't have a cent for me. Like there was no account, there was no nothing. Like I at no point did have a conversation about it. So I wasn't expecting anything, but I was surprised that like nothing at all was like I didn't extended any help at all. Not that I expected them to pay for it, but just a matter of like
Yeah.
I got decent grades, but I got decent grades and I wanted to go to college, and they're like, there was you could hear crickets.
Yeah.
So so for me, it's like, Jessie wants to go to college. Like she has like two in mind, and they're local. They're in driving distance. And I said to her, like, maybe this summer what you can do is like, putting money away. Maybe we can think of her, like so that you can not have to take public transportation, and you can have a little bit of freedom going back and forth and still be able to stay home. And she's like,
Mhm.
she wants to see if she can have a college experience. And I'm like, as long as it's not going to cost you, because I don't want you being in the middle of your degree and then realizing the money's out. Because believe me, we have in our 529 plan, if it covers books for 4 years right now, I'd be like, it's not a lot. So but I don't know, like my son, like, know like what he wants to do yet. Like he's still like up in the air about what he wants to do. So for him, if he does want to go, I think the community college would be great because it gives him a broad spectrum of classes he can take, and then he can decide something he wants to do. But my money's still on a mechanic. I really think he's gonna be an amazing mechanic or numbers.
Yeah. And that's how it is. Like for my daughter, if either of them were going to go away to a 4-year degree, I
Mm-hmm.
see her doing it, just
Mm-hmm.
because from a very young age she has known exactly what she wants to do, and she's continued like on that path to success. So I know that she would be able to really do it, even if she would be able to get the scholarships and all of that. My
Mm-hmm.
son is a lot less motivated,
Mm-hmm.
and really goal driven. Like he's just not thinking forward like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if he does go to college, I see him going to a community college. He's
Yeah.
also a mama's boy, so I don't see him going super far away from me.
He's saying to me, he's like, I don't want to go far from you. And
Yeah.
meanwhile, Jesse's like, I think there's colleges in California. It's like, peace. No.
Yeah.
I was like, in another conversation, it's like, I know you want to like move as far away from me as like I can never like see you. Like that's not true. But she wants to have the college experience. I'm like, but at the same time, being in state here is expensive. So even if she wants to like be like 2 hours away but still in New Jersey or something, then
Yeah.
she can extend the money to the point where she can do something like that. Like, want to limit her.
Mhm.
She needs to be realistic too, because again, if she's not looking at the numbers, there's a problem, because we're not gonna sign off on her doing something she's not gonna be able to finish if she wants to.
Right.
But
Yeah.
the thing that's just like you said, my son isn't very motivated, but he's my saver. So he'll be the one that has all the choices of what he has to do. He's gonna be like,
Yeah. And like I tell my son, you know, like my brother-in-law, he doesn't have a degree, but he designs video games for a living and he makes a really, really good living.
wow.
So,
I hope
you
he
know,
Brian's this.
you can do anything you want to do,
Wow,
but
that's great.
you have to be, you know, you have to be motivated to do it because
Exactly.
it's not just going to happen to you.
And I just want
You have to be
passionate about what
intentional.
they want to do. Like you always hear these people, like I had a family member, a distant uncle, and he was always telling me when I was little, like it's all about the money. Like it's all about the money. Like you have a degree and it doesn't. And I was like, well, I don't want to do that. Like that won't make me happy. And he was like, happy. And he's no, life is about money. And it's about, he got his engineering degree. He got like one of the highest positions. He was making fortune, had a pool, and he quit his job. He had a nervous breakdown and quit his job. I'm like, happiness is more important in my opinion. Like, happiness is more important, and you want the best for your kids, but you don't want them to have a miserable life. You want them to do something that makes them excited to get up in the morning, you know?
Yep. I mean, you got to work a lot of years before you retire, so you better do something that you enjoy doing.
That exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. Okay. Let me see. Okay, Wanda. Maybe your daughter can do her core classes at the community college and then other ones at the college. I don't know if she's for me, but I've been telling Jessie. Like until she has exactly what she wants to do. Like even if she wants to go and have the college experience, like I'll start off at a community college if you know what you want to do. You know, that Dave Ramsey says, like, you know, a degree in left-handed puppetry, like, doesn't get you around life. Like,
yep. Or like underwater basket weaving.
yeah. Oh, here's Monica. Trade schools are also a great option, as you mentioned. I really have, you know, like as a mom, like, you know, your kids, like, I feel like if I had a crystal ball, he's going, you know, and he's going to do wonderful. Like, I know he's going to do wonderful. Motivation is difficult in virtual school. Absolutely. That's, I mean, are your kids in?
No,
Access, right?
they have been back in school for a while.
Okay.
I think since, gosh, I don't even know, but they've been back in school for a while.
Really? Yeah. No, we've been virtual this whole time.
They actually asked to go back. They didn't like virtual.
Oh, believe me, my little my teenager over there, she's begging. She's literally clawing the wall. She wants to go back so bad.
My daughter has real bad anxiety too.
Really?
And so being at home was like not, anxiety and depression, and it was just not working good for her. So going back was just the best thing for her.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, Jessie goes through a little anxiety too. Like she is, and it's just something that she's working through, because unfortunately, like, what can we do, you know? It's funny, Debbie, we're in California and my son wants to go to another state. but it's my daughter, but my daughter wants to go to California. Yeah, she keeps joking about it, like she wants to be on the other coast. I'm like, yeah, good luck to you on that one. You're not Jeff Bezos. Here. Yes, I agree. You should be happier doing something that makes you happier than doing something that makes you sad. Absolutely. And as a last thing we want. Well, I can't thank you enough for being on, Becky. And it was when I asked her, like, can you, like, what do you feel comfortable talking about? You know, what do you want to talk about? And this was one of the questions I lit up, because I was like, I've been wanting to cover this topic for so long. And so many, when I'm talking about budget, I'm talking about, you know, lowering your expenses and everything else. So many questions from the subscribers and the viewers go back to kids, you know, and I'm like, I really wanted to cover this. So I can't think of a better person to have on than you to cover this topic. So I'm so glad that you suggested it and that you came on.
Well, thank you for having me. This was fun.
Oh, I'm so glad you liked it. Let me see here. One more thing. My brother and I have full virtual as well. Yeah, it's hard. Oh, Monica, great live, ladies. Thank you. So sweet. She's such a doll. Well, guys, I'm going to link Becky from Busy Becky's channel down below. Please go check her out. And as you can tell, she's just down to earth. Her content is awesome. And it's a channel. I think I was like your 20th subscriber. And I'm like, and all of you on this journey. I just look forward to all of your videos, honestly.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, thanks so much for being, guys. Thanks so much for watching us live. And if you're watching on the replay, if you have any questions for Becky, down below and I'll make sure that she gets them. And again, please go check out her channel. And thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.